Welcome back. We are discussing the perspective of need of innovation in marketing and referring to consumer behavior perspective or consumer behavior at large in association with the stimuli, influencers and larger behavioral changes which we have observed in due course of time in past 2-3 decades. And now let us traverse into an innovative perspective or innovative perspectives about 4P's for innovation in marketing. Let us see what can be thought of, because we would be going for every single aspect in due course of time, but let us see what broadly can be thought of, and then I would be closing the loop with two elements. I would be coming back to, as I told you last time also, that I would be coming back to the behavioral changes with respect to COVID-19, which are, some of them are permanent. So, I would be talking about that element, but before that I wish for you to think in terms of how to look at 4P's in innovation, and then I would be connecting the dots in terms of recent behavioral changes which we have gone through, and then lastly I would be focusing upon an innovator's dilemma for a few minutes, so as to emphasize upon the fact that how innovators and marketers are looking at the scenario right now. So, let us see. You see, we started our story from scaled up perspective, and the text which we have been referring to talks about commoditization, wherein when we talk of commoditization and consolidation, somehow can we start our thought process in terms of deciphering innovation in marketing from this place onwards? Authors have been doing that. I would be referring to what they have said in due course of time. I would be referring to several authors, including the text which we have started referring to from IMD, which we have started referring to in since the beginning, but as of now we are building up the case. So, let us try to get out of this trap of commoditization and consolidation for a while. Let us focus on getting out of it. When we say that we are getting out of it, either we have to think in terms of a reverse process or not getting into it. So, not getting into it is innovation in itself, and if we could have foreseen that, then we would not have been talking about these things with this regard. But still, not getting into it, for many marketers it can be a lesson. So, how can it be done? It can be done through specialization. Yes, we have been doing that. We have been generating specialization around several kinds of services, several kinds of courses. We have been going for micro specialization and super specialization for that matter. Fragmentation, we have whole of the process in front of us, and then we can take advantage of the technological upgradation in these processes and fragment those processes in terms of generating different kinds of outputs. Can we do that? Yes, of course we can do that. Regionalization can be one thing. We should be focusing upon different regions with different kinds of product formations or positioning for that matter, and largely decentralizing whatever we have been accumulating in terms of centralization for developing an economies of scale and so on, and commoditizing things. So, decentralization can be one perspective. Now, you see, for example, in case of energy, we have started doing that. You are experiencing that. People have started putting up solar cells, solar panels on their households. That means you are generating your own energy now. Yes, we have created models. Some people take advantage of that through direct transfer from solar panels through different procedures to their own houses and surrounding areas, and many, they are enjoying the model of transferring the complete thing to the grid and taking most of it from the grid, and then the compensation process works. So, energy at household level, energy in rural areas through solar panels, energy through forest bioresidue, energy through small hydro, micro hydro, and all these processes, it has become a very, very, very common phenomena. That means, we are actually fragmenting or decentralizing the energy generation process through large thermal and hydro plants towards household level micro energy generation, which is a very, very good phenomena. Technology is enabling us for that, and in due course of time, if we keep on going through this process, this will enable several associated processes for every household which would have its own energy. For example, in distant rural Himalayas, if someone has their own energy source, that energy source not only feeds them, but puts up a different kind of an advantage for them in terms of their livelihood, or let us say support livelihood processes. For example, they can process few things there itself, or they can rely upon that for their complete livelihood in situations like COVID-19 which we have passed through, or so on. And we have, I personally have been associated with such kind of projects which wherein we have seen this kind of a success in terms of generating a low cost energy generation process, and first it actually supported few households and then the community at large. So, that is a welcoming move in terms of as far as this whole energy situation goes. So, and this can be seen in terms of food processing also, this can be seen in terms of several manufacturing processes also. And you see, the story started from universalization of quality, and that is how commoditization came up. And once we have reached to the quality standards and benchmarks, and while we are going for reverse process of fragmenting the production processes, quality has not to be compromised, because now we have standardized procedures at which can be converted to a smaller scale as well. This is the advantage of technology, and this is what you call innovation, and this innovation can traverse into the complete marketing processes starting from this stage. It is a good thought, it is a positive thought, it is happening, just keep looking for it. Now, you see, but if you will try to push this thing towards almost whole of the marketing process in terms of all the industries, you would realize that this is, we have reached to this side, now we are going back to that side. Well, that is also a good leap in terms of innovation in marketing process, which we would realize in due course of time, but not so special, intelligent, but not so intelligent when we talk about the cumulative intelligence the world has. So, what else can be done? Other can be diversification. Now, when we say diversification, so diversification means that you have standardized procedures in terms of production capability, in terms of engineering capability and producing one kind of a product. Can you be using that kind of a process which you have for producing another kind of a product? For example, can you utilize a sugar mill for not crushing sugarcane always and crushing, or let us say in off season crushing tomatoes or something else? Can we do that? Yes, we can do that. So, slight diversification with a similar kind of a procedure what we have can also generate innovation in terms of whole of the marketing process. Diversification would be leading us towards substitution and alternatives, substitutes and alternatives. And you see, this is what marketing is all about. The point is that you have to satisfy the need of hunger with the want associated with several kinds of products. It depends upon how marketer generates substitutes and alternatives in terms of as far as these things go. Although food might not have several alternatives, but then fruits, prepared food and so on, somewhere between substitution and alternative, I agree, but then travel definitely has lots of substitution alternative perspective, and I would be reiterating these examples in due course of time. Now, taking the advantage of technology skills of marketers and awareness of customers, another thing which can be done is, and which is very important, is somehow we have to reduce the scale. So, now you see what happens is that we can reduce the scale of what we have been doing. Now, if we are reducing the scale, again that is a costly affair. We have generated a scale, that means investment has taken place. Rationalization of that investment is the first call. Reduction of the scale can improve quality and can enable innovation, because then we would be diverting our additional resources towards something else. It is very close to diversification, but then scale, reduction of scale in terms of one thing, and if somehow we are unable to capitalize upon as far as idle capacity goes, or let us say removing the idle capacity at all, then we have to compensate that with this remaining capacity whatever we have, is again a very typical kind of a question which logically marketers would not like to think of in terms of as far as, and as far as the rationalization of cost and returns go, and or return on investment or return on marketing investment, these kind of terms are always used for this kind of a thing. So, that is one part. The second part is somehow that again it is from that side to this side. So, me and my team, both all of us, all three of us were discussing this morning that one way can be moving from B2B to B2C. B2B to B2C. So, and then that happens, you see, you have gone for commoditization, you have or without going for commoditization, you are actually catering to B2B market, and then you start moving towards consumer market, that is consumers directly purchase your products from retail outlets. However commoditized those products were in the earlier phases, we have seen that in case of construction material, we have seen that in case of paints, we have seen that in case of cement, we have seen that in case, and cement of course is a construction material, and we have seen that in case of several products which you recall and remember, and several organizations they have done so. Many organizations they have moved from B2C to B2B in terms of as far as rationalizing the whole process goes, and definitely it has a context to innovation in marketing, very interesting fact. But again this is because somehow we were stagnating somewhere, or we were fixing ourselves somewhere. So, we moved from this place to that place and that place to this place. So, this is again a wheel kind of a situation which we are focusing upon, but still we somehow are not innovative enough in terms of rationalizing the thought associated with innovation in marketing, which may be acknowledged as innovation in marketing. Although we have seen such examples like how Nestle differentiated renovation with innovation, and how they moved from one phase to the other phase of serving coffee to the customers. So, that is a wonderful effort, but what next? That is one question. The other question is how can it be used as a model, and I have been reiterating this fact. Why we have such examples as standalone examples? So, what else can be done? And this question in terms of what else can be done, I would address just after a while. Before that, I once again take you towards one more important element, which is a connecting dot, or here you have some connecting dots in terms of behavioral aspects which have to be catered to from the side of the marketer in terms of what next, because these kind of things they abruptly come. World was World became perplexed in terms of how to respond to this. We are pursuing a paper and writing a paper on this, and soon you would hear from me about that paper once it is finally through the publication process, wherein how marketers responded to this COVID-19 situation. Whole of the world, it stopped somehow, and there are some permanent behavioral changes which world would experience, as the authors and several reports say. Several references we are quoting in this kind of a discussion, wherein one reference, one source on this slide is how COVID-19 is changing consumer behavior now and forever. That is July 30, 2020, McKinsey and Company wrote a report. And then Professor Jagdish Seth wrote a wonderful paper on COVID-19 driven change in consumer behavior, and he talks about hoarding, improvisation, pent up demand, embracing digital technology, which is an important thing, very important thing. All of us resorted to this. World did not stop in terms of as far as online communication goes. Zoom, WebEx and whatnot, Google Meet and Microsoft Teams, every platform. I'm standing in an educational institution. We did not stop, and students, they kept going ahead thanks to the technology. Store comes, blurring of work-life boundaries, this is carrying forward. Reunion with friends and family, well, yes, that became a norm. Discovery of talent, oh yes. So these are some points which are importantly given to us by Professor Seth. You can dwell upon these points and realize that yes, some of these would stay forever. According to a survey conducted in November 2021 in India, 68% of consumers use omni-channels for the purchase of groceries. In contrast, 19% of respondents purchase groceries online, and around 13% of the consumers buy groceries in store. And then product categorization is mentioned in this slide, and you can pause and look at it, and then slides would definitely be provided to you. So this is the kind of thing. Today people have started ordering very small quantity of goods. From 2019 to 22, the online grocery market in India saw an exponential growth of 66% of compound annual growth rate. And then the gross merchandise value, which refers to the total value of goods sold via e-commerce platforms, rose from $1.7 billion in 2019 to $8 billion, almost 4 times in 2022, and is expected to reach 19 billion in 2025. Work related changes, rise of unemployment, on the go consumption devices, remote working, and in some form rise in employment as well. Travel and mobility, then shopping and consumption changes, surge in e-commerce, preference for trusted brands, decline in discretionary spending, and you see, travel, interesting thing came in terms of virtual tourism. Then large in shopping and consumption, coming back to that, large basket, reduced shopping frequency, and shift to stores closer to home, polarization of sustainability, and those kind of elements, they came in. Communications from information, in-person sampling, decline, shift in media consumption, and so on, and lot of shift in media consumption. And we started resorting to, you see, there was a time, and still it is a time, people are going through that change. I talk to people, what kind of OTT platforms you refer to. They have 4-5 platforms subscribed to, and they have opened up 4-5 programs in every platform. You will, sometimes we wonder that at a moment you have opened up almost 20-25 programs, movies or television serials at one go, and you are watching those parallelly. That is what we have done in due course, and that is a behavioral response which we are going through. Health and well-being, we have been becoming very health conscious in due course of time, and COVID-19 motivated us to do that, and so on. So again, this is from the same report which McKinsey published. Adoption of technology, There was 20 times more participants in video conferencing in 3 months. 10 times, telemedicine increased over 10 times in 15 days, and so on. So much of statistics has evolved in due course of time. E-commerce has brought in so many changes, and there are several Statista reports which we have been referring to. For example, internet have changed the way we live and interact and have impacted every facet of our lives. It also generated enormous data information that can be accessed, shared and used by wider audience. The global penetration of internet is estimated to be around 64.5% of the total population now. An interesting thought. And the number of mobile devices worldwide is predicted to cross 18 billion, almost double the number of the population of this world by 2025. Changing trends in consumer behavior, once again this we have taken from Statista. Internet penetration rate in India from 2007 to 2022. Just look at this graph. So that is the perspective, just look at this. Then retail e-commerce sales worldwide from 2014 to 2026, and that is in US dollars worldwide. Am I reading it rightly? 8,148 billion US dollars. I do not know how many zeros would be required here. Just imagine the quantum, just imagine the quantum. Big, it is big. And then artificial intelligence, which is the next front. It has gained more popularity and coverage in last few months owing to the recent launch of AI chatbots like ChatGPT. Almost all the students, they have started using that. That is, I do not know what to say about. Soon the world became engulfed with the applications, advantages as well as the fear of AI have in store for the future. Nevertheless, AI is here to stay. That is very true. And we have started responding to that, that is a behavioral change which, for example, students, they just go to ChatGPT and they start saying that, I want this, I want that, and ChatGPT does it for them. How would it affect the real knowledge gain? I am not sure. It is creating convenience, that is for sure. Artificial intelligence market size worldwide in 2021 with a forecast until 2030 in million US dollars is huge, is I think 1.5 million US dollars plus kind of, that is the kind of rise AI is looking at. So it is important, that means adaptability is huge and we are responding well to this kind of a change. What this will enable, we have yet to see, and we have talked about different facets in terms of expressions in terms of our behavioral change which we are going through. And there are several kinds of elements associated with as far as whole value chain goes, in terms of what kind of stimuli have changed us permanently and what kind of stimuli would take some time in changing our behavior further. These kind of changes may be reversed in due course of time with further stimuli, but what should marketers do? Marketers should be looking for long term solutions based on several innovative measures which they should be taking continuously. So, long term solutions, long term loyalty, long term trust, but continuous innovation in terms of all the marketing processes to serve society at large. And just to give you a glimpse of what should be done, let us start from the scenario where consumer behavior and technology is diluting the segmentation. Which segment do you belong to in, if you wish to categorize yourself in terms of demography, behavior and lifestyle and so on? Can you customize, can you structure yourself into one particular segment today? If you are unable to do that, look at your mobile phone, look at your OTT choices, look at your shoes, look at your food habits and try to fix yourself into a segment. It would be a tough kind of an exercise. Earlier it was very simple exercise. I am earning this much, this is the automotive I would have, this is the kind of communication device I would have, this is the kind of house I would have. Today everything is differentiated, my choice would vary from this side to that side, because from all these sides I I am a target for different kinds of substitutes and alternatives. Share of pocket expense, share of my pocket is the question for all the marketers, but if they are not innovative enough to reach to me and take me towards a sustained loyalty, I would not stick with anyone. That is how this behavioral change, demonstrates in front of us. So, segmentation is getting diluted. I would be coming to this in slight more detail, but largely if we are unable to put ourselves into a segment, segmentation is getting diluted. That means we are targets, individual targets. Individual targets means individual positioning. So, targeting and positioning has become individualistic. Just read this P as positioning. So, STP in marketing is changing to TP with a perspective of I or in relation to I, individualistic targeting and positioning. That is a big change which we can think in terms of while crafting our innovative measures for marketing process. And once we do that, now let us spread this perspective around while imagining that we are not looking in terms of individualistic targeting and positioning as marketers for our product only. We are looking for this thing or towards this thing for the complete value chain which we belong to, whichever part we are, wherever we are standing at. For example, we are a restaurant taking supplies from different sides and catering to different age groups of customers because we have different targets. For example, McDonald's is targeting almost everyone and they are taking supplies from all the sides. If McDonald's is not looking towards the whole of the value chain with an innovative perspective, and if they are not looking at the marketing process in terms of the complete value chain, then things would stop or become redundant after a particular kind of a stage. But McDonald's kind of an organization, they are doing that. They are actually intelligent enough to look for the complete value chain in terms of putting innovative measures at different stages even for their stakeholders and partners, and deriving the whole process towards a mutual gain and benefit for the society at large. So, the lesson here is that let us look at innovation in marketing while looking at the complete value chain with a mutual gain and benefit in relation to all the stakeholders, including customers and partners and society at large. What would McDonald's do next? That is a major question. I would be coming back to that in due course of time, and I would be initiating my next discussion with a brief element of this same thing which I just mentioned. What would McDonald's or someone else who is already innovative enough, what would they do? And if people are not innovative enough as of now, what should they do? Is there something which hinders this thing? Yes, it is called innovator's dilemma, which hinders their process. I would be initiating my discussion from this point, and then I would be taking you towards separate individual elements in whole of the marketing process to establish this fact that innovation in marketing is actually innovation in marketing value chain at large for the purpose of serving society at large. Keep going along with me. I will be coming back to you. Till next time, goodbye.